What's up, you sickos? What's going on? Now we're in I believe week 12 already, so it's getting late in the year. Beastie Boy is still going crazy here. I'm going to have to blow through this because it's already 12:15 here. So I want to get the picks in quickly, so I'm not going to have too much time to talk on a whole lot of topics, but a few things that I wanted to get to. I hope that you guys are following through with the were you the reason that someone had a positive experience today, so hopefully you guys are practicing that. I got a good story on that later. The Nick Saban rant where he said it was not okay to lose. I thought that was kind of funny, a funny rant. If anybody can afford to lose, it's Alabama. Not that you ever want to lose, but if anyone could ever afford to lose one game, it's Alabama. And I don't even know if they won or lost. I don't even know. I have no idea what's going on. But, I mean, if Alabama loses one game, no one's really going to care. They're putting Alabama in that Final Four. They really got to boost this up to 8 teams. They really have to do it, and they got to do it soon, like next year. It should have been done for this year. But it's got to go up to 8 teams for the college playoff next year. It has to. There's no other way to get through that. Let's see. Jeff Fisher versus Eric Dickerson. I'm not a big Jeff Fisher fan. He hasn't done, and I don't even know who this guy thinks he is, but I give him props for calling Eric Dickerson personally about not giving him tickets because he hasn't gone to any practices or he's been so, what's the word I'm looking for, critical of the LA Rams. Nobody's more LA Rams than Eric Dickerson. I mean, he is the epitome of LA Rams. St. Louis was the Cardinals, if everyone remembers correctly. They were the Cardinals. The Cardinals went to Arizona. And I don't even know if I'm remembering that correctly, but the Cardinals moved out of there. The Rams came back into the Rams moved out of wherever the heck they were into St. Louis. But the Rams were an LA team. They were never a St. Louis team. So if anyone is more LA Rams, it's Eric Dickerson. So you might want to... Both of these guys got to give in a little bit. Dickerson's being a little bit high and mighty, but I get it. Because he should be. This is what I mean. People in power, they always do crazy things. So anyway, I just don't get... Jeff Fisher hasn't been above 500 since... probably the Cardinals were back in St. Louis. That's probably, or Houston was when Houston was the Oilers, not the Texans. I mean, God, please. So Jeff Fisher really needs to get over himself at this point. Some 2 good things that happened this week, which are awesome. The All-Star Game is going back to being an exhibition game, thankfully, starting next year. And the winner of the American League pennant and the winner of the National League pennant, whoever has the best record at that point, will be the home team for the World Series. That's the way it should be. Best record should be the home team for the World Series. Now, it worked out this year, thankfully, because I predicted it. And I even predicted 7 games, too, which nobody thought was going to happen. So that is really good news because that game the All-Star Game never should decide anything other than who won and who lost, not who should be playing home team for a World Series. That's insane. I'd never liked that rule. Never. So thankfully that's going away starting next year. And then after the 2017 season, the NFL is going to renegotiate the contract for Thursday night games, which is awesome because those games suck. The only time they're good is on Thanksgiving. And that's the way it should stay. That's what it should go back to. And I believe that they are going to go back to that because the NFL product on Thursday night is just horrific. So, with that being said, those 2 things are awesome. The All-Star Game going back to being an exhibition game, and hopefully they will be getting rid of the Thursday night games, with the exception, of course, of Thanksgiving in the NFL. So that's great. And they definitely should never, ever go to 18 games in the NFL, too, by the way. Unless they're going to eliminate some preseason games. But I still don't think that should go to 18 games anyway, because guys are getting hurt left and right anyway at this point. They're bigger, stronger, faster. It used to be that NFL players held down second jobs because they weren't getting paid enough. So things were a lot different back then. But now, that's all guys do. So they're bigger, stronger, faster, and they're getting hurt more often. So that's you can't go to 18 games either. That would be bad. All right, so now we're gonna get on to the picks. We had a great Thanksgiving, going 4-1-1. Last week I was 5-3. For the year I am 41-23-2, which is, for me, it's actually phenomenal. 64%, and that is actually a very good percentage for anyone that's out there throwing a little money on these games. So I really want you guys to have a nice Christmas. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And my illustration came through again on Thursday night with Dallas -3. I told you to buy it down to -2, and that would have brought you out of a loss. Now, it would have been smarter to bet the Vikings at +3, but if you did bet Dallas and you didn't get down to -2, like I keep telling you, to buy that extra point, all these mixed extra points and all this stuff's going on, especially the Vikings, all they pretty much do is have 55 plays, go 30 yards, and kick a field goal. So you want to always buy that, at least a point. You know, sometimes even a half a point is fine, but a full point in these days is so much better. You might pay a little bit more for it, but you're going to come out of a loss and end up with a push rather than losing money. So which would you rather do? Alright? Alright, so on to the picks. I got a ton of picks today. Ton of picks, so stay with me. And again, I'm not going to tell you what to buy down to, but buy down a minimum of a half point to a full point on all these games, or up. If we're going to give you an underdog, you buy up, and if we're going to give you a favorite, you buy down. Alright, so we got Denver -3.5 at Jacksonville. Kansas City +5 at Atlanta. The over in the Kansas City game, Kansas City Atlanta game, the over 50. Houston +7 at Green Bay. The over in the Cincinnati Philadelphia game, over 42. Detroit +6.5 at New Orleans. Why Detroit is getting 6.5 at New Orleans is mind-boggling. And then the over in that game, which is 53.5. The over in the Detroit-New Orleans game. Miami +3.5 at Baltimore. Oakland -3 at home to Buffalo. Washington +2.5 at Arizona. The more I think about it, that might be a trap game, but Washington coming off a loss, I believe will take care of Arizona. They're a better team than Arizona right now, especially in defense. Giants +6.5 at Pittsburgh. I love that one. Giants typically play better on the road. Pittsburgh's defense is pretty suspect. Again, you're going to buy the Giants up to at least +7, 6.5, 7. So you want to go to 7, if not 7.5. And if the price is good, go to 8. And you should be happy with 8. I'm going to try and get it to 8. But at the minimum, you want to buy the Giants to +7. At minimum. Again, Miami, you want to get Miami at, which is +3.5. You want to get Miami up to +4. Kansas City at +5. I would suggest buying that up to 7. If you're going to spend money anywhere, go up to Kansas City +7 at Atlanta. Their defense should be able to hold Atlanta relatively close. Last time I went against Kansas City on the road at Carolina, and Kansas City won outright on the field. So let's see what happens there. And it should be a close game. So even if you have the over in that game, which is 50, you should be okay one way or the other with that. Houston +7 at Green Bay. Houston's defense should be able to keep that game within the number. I think Green Bay, still, just because they played one good game doesn't mean anything. Denver -3.5 at Jacksonville. This other guy that's filling in at quarterback might actually be better than Trevor Siemian. I can't remember the dude's name. Not that it really matters, because someone else will be there eventually anyway, so whatever. Detroit +6.5 at New Orleans. You want to get that up to 7. Detroit is actually the better team in that match, at least defensively, and more than likely offensively a better team too. So they should. You might even want to try Detroit on the money line there, because they should win that game outright. But once again, I hope you guys have a great Christmas. We're going to break out the red. Hey, you know what? I'm going to back up a little bit. Mike Crow, I want to thank you for making my whole week. We had a great Facebook battle. I think I've won. My pictures are better. If you haven't seen the Facebook battle, go check it out. He posted a picture of his Little League team after I posted a picture of my Little League team. Then he made reference to my claiming king of Little League. And he wanted to lay claim to king of Little League, which Mike Crow was absolutely a better player than I was in every respect. But the kid was like, at the age of 11, he had the body of like a 15, 16-year-old. So, I mean, and I had the body, at age 11, I had the body of like an 8-year-old. So, I mean, obviously, he's a much better player in every respect, all the way through baseball. It didn't matter what age we were. The kid played football. The kid played everything. Basketball. Actually, he and I had the same basketball team. His father coached our team. His father, an amazing guy. The guy was phenomenal. Big Red. Miss Big Red, Mike. Miss you. Hope everything is great up in Massachusetts. But thank you very much for engaging me in that. I love the banter. I love all that stuff. But I am the true king of Little League because, number one, my pictures are quality-wise better. I mean, it's like they were taken yesterday. And I know every player on my all-star team except for two kids. I can't remember. I can't remember what their names are. I remember who they were, but I can't remember what their names are. And I'll be embarrassed about one of them if I find out what the kid. I might be embarrassed about one of them if I find out that one kid on the back left. Sorry. So, and then again, a whole bunch of other people sent over their Little League pictures, and I appreciate that too. Those are awesome. But no one can remember most of the names of the teams. I'm picking out more people like Larry D'Angelo on Mike Crow team. I mean, come on, you guys got to know some of these kids. How do you not remember all these kids? I mean, God. So anyway, you guys have a good week. I'm gonna try and do a midweek thing. Hopefully things are slowing down for me. Next weekend is going to be busy, but hopefully during the week it won't be too bad. All right? Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you soon. Have a good week.